Hello, good day. Today we are learning today's page on Sotah is page 38, Daf Lamed Ches Amud Aleph. The Mishnah starts at the bottom of 37, the second side, Amud Beis. So the Mishnah says that the Koyanim, when they give the bracha, the special blessing of the Koyanim give of Yivarechacha and Yisa and Yoir and Yisa. So that bracha, Ketzad, how is it done? So when it's outside of the Beis Hamikdash, it said it's three different blessings. You say Amen. But in the Beis Hamikdash, you only make one blessing because in the Beis Hamikdash they don't say Amen. Another difference is in the Beis Hamikdash, it's said the way it's written with the Yud K Vav K. In outside of the Beis Hamikdash, it said in the Kinui the way we say it today, Hashem Adnai. In the outside of the Beis Hamikdash, the Kohanim lift up their hands equal to their shoulders. In the Beis Hamikdash, they raise their fingers above their heads because they're saying God's real name, and God's name is above, is at a higher level than their heads. Except the Kohen Gadol, the high priest, who does not raise his hands above his head because he has a tzitz on his forehead, which has Hashem's name. You're not allowed to raise your hand higher than that. Rabbi Yehuda differs, and he says the Kohen Gadol may raise his hands higher than the tzitz. Like it says that Aaron raised his hands and he blessed them. So he raised his hand even higher than the tzitz. So the Gemara says like this. The rabbis says, so you bless them. So means what? B'losha kodesh. You have to say the Birchas Kohen and the Blessed Kohen have to be said in Hebrew. So is it in Hebrew or is it in any language? So it says Koisavarchu, so shall you bless, and then when it talks about blessing the people by Mount Gerizim or Mount Abel, it says Eli Yamdul Varcham. These people will stand to bless the people, and just like there we know it happened in Hebrew, so here also it has to happen in Hebrew. Rabbi Yehuda says you don't need to learn from elsewhere. It says clearly in the verse, Koi. This is how you should. This is how you should bless. So obviously it has to be said in the language of Hebrew. We learned elsewhere, Koisavarchu. What do we learn from the word Koisavarchu? So shall you bless. That has to be bamid. That has to be, you have to stand. So maybe you can sit the Kohanim. How do you know you have to stand? So it says Koisavarchu, so shall you bless. And then it says these people will stand to bless, just like there they stood. So here also, when you do the Birchas Kohanim, the Kohanim have to stand. Rabbi Nassan says you don't need that because it says l'shartzei, to serve, l'varach b'shmein, to bless in His name, just like you serve, a Kohanim serves standing, so to the blessing has to be standing. How do we know that you serve standing? Because it says lamed l'sharis, they stood to stand, so they have to stand. So therefore, you don't need to learn from elsewhere. You learn from it itself. We learned also Koisavarchu. These two words mean benesias kapayim, when they raise their hands and they bless the Jewish people. So is it during, when do they bless only when they're doing the Siyas Kapayim? How do we know actually that they have to raise their hands? How did the Gemara says, how do we know they actually raise their hands? Maybe they just bless. How do we know they raise their hands? So we say, it says, Koisavarchu, so shall you bless, and it says Aaron raised his hand to bless. Just like there, he raised his hands to bless. Also here, anyone who blesses, the Kohanim have to raise their hands. So Rabbi Yonason had a question. How can you learn from a Kohen Gadol? You have to raise your hands. That day was the first day of the Beis Hamikdash, Yom Rishon, Sheni Shmini LaMiluyim, the first day when it was built, inaugurated the Beis Hamikdash. So there was a Kohen Gadol. It was Rosh Chodesh. All the sacrifices were communal sacrifices. So maybe only when it's a Kohen Gadol and these three things, then you have to use your hands to bless. But otherwise, you don't have to. So he says, because it says in the verse that by blessing, who of one of Kol Hayamim, him and his children, all days. So we say the children have to be like him, just like he has to raise his hand when he blesses the Jews, so to all the children. And it says Kol Hayamim, that all the days, and the blessing is just like serving. So it's like he serves, and he has to raise his hand when he's doing that. So too, when they bless, the Kohen has to raise their hand. We learned elsewhere that it says Koisavarchu, so you should bless the people. B'shem first, you have to bless them with Hashem's real name. So the question is, how do we know you have to bless them with the real name? Maybe you have to use like we use now, Adnai, not the real name. So it says V'sham b'samor shmi. You should put my name, the name that's unique to me. That's Hashem's real name, not the nickname that we use, which is also holy, but it's not Hashem's essential name. Rabbi Yeshua says you don't have to learn from anywhere else. It says any place that you mention my name, I will come and bless you. So what do you mean? Only Hashem comes and blesses us everywhere? So it means we read the verse a little differently. Every place that I come to you, which is the Beis Hamikdash, then and I bless you, you have to mention my name. So where's in the Beis Hamikdash Hashem's name is mentioned fully and completely. We know from the fact that the verse itself is clearly telling us that. We learned elsewhere. It says, so she blessed the people, the Jewish people. We know now you're allowed to have to bless Jewish people. What about converts, women, servants? How do we know that they're included in the being blessed? It says, Omer lahem, tell them, and them includes everybody. We learned elsewhere, when you bless, you have to look at the kohenim, that you have to be facing the kohenim. So does it have to be facing the kohenim? What happened? Could you be looking at the back of the kohen and also be included in the blessing? So it says, Omer lahem, tell them, just like someone's talking to his friend, you have to look at the kohen when he's blessing you. Now we learned elsewhere, you should bless them. We learned from here, you have to say it loud. Maybe you should say it quietly. He says, no, and Merlim, just like two people talk to each other, they're loud, you have to say it loud. Abaye says that when they're in shul, now we're talking about in shul, when there are two people, two kohenim, the chazan calls up, koi hanim, he calls out the kohenim. But when it's only one kohen, he doesn't call up the kohen, he just goes up himself. Like it says, Omer lahem, tell them, you should call them only when there's in plural too. Rav Chisda says, that he says he takes even more. Only a kohen is allowed to call up kohenim, but a Israelite is not allowed to call up a kohen and say kohenim. But the truth is, we say that the halacha remains like Abaye, that when there's two kohenim you call up, not one. But not like Rav Chisda, even a Yisrael Israelite can call up the kohenim. Now we go into some more things related to the Birchas Kohen and the blessing of the kohenim. So Yeshua ben Levi says, how do we know that Hashem desires Birchas Kohanim? Because it says you should place my name on the true Jewish people, and I will bless them. So Hashem is telling the Kohanim you should place my name. Not that the Jewish people are asking for it. I'm asking that you should place my name, so I can bless the Jewish people. So Hashem loves when the Kohanim bless. Yeshua ben Levi says, every Kohen that blesses the Birchas Kohanim, the three blessings, gets blessed. But if he doesn't bless others, then he will not get blessed. Like it says, I will bless those who bless me. And Yeshua Levi says even further, any kohen that doesn't go to duchen is transgressing three positive commandments, because each of the three blessings, it says the three things associated with the blessing, and you're transgressing all of them. Rav says, we even think if someone doesn't go up to duchen, then maybe he's not a proper kohen. He's the child of a kohen who married a divorcee or someone who got chalitza, and then he's not able to go and bless. So the question is, how far do we take it? Does it just transgress three sins, or actually we start worrying maybe he's not a real kohen? So the Gemara answers, if he goes up sometimes, so then he just transgressed three blessings. But if he never goes up, that's when we start worrying maybe he's not capable of going up because he's not really a kohen. Rabbi Shua the son of Levi said, any kohen that doesn't go up to bless by avodah, meaning when we're holding before in middle of the service of the Amida, before Ritzei, he's not allowed to go up anymore. You have to go up before the Chazan says Ritzei while he's still in the avodah, in the service part of the Amida. Like it says that Aaron raised his hands and he blessed them while he was going and doing the service in the Beis Hamikdash. So the Gemara says, Rabami, Rabasi, who were kohenim, they went even later, after the Chazan said Ritzei. So he says, Rabami, Rabasi, their place in the shul was very far. So they had to walk a long way. So they left their place before the Avodah was finished. They didn't arrive there till after the Avodah, but that's fine. Like Rav Shia says, that the law is that not that you can't go up if you didn't go up avodah. That if you didn't move your feet, you didn't start the process of going up to bless, you cannot go up if you didn't do it before the avodah was finished. But if you already moved your feet to go, then even if you arrive at the end, even after Maidim, by Maidim you're allowed to go up. And as well as we learned that if it's that by let's say the kohen is the chazan, he's only one. So we said that the kohen cannot bless because he's going to forget that he's doing the Amidah, the repetition, and may get confused. But if he's so confident that he'll be able to do the blessing of Kohanim and get back to the Amidah, as a Chazan, he's allowed to do it. So the question is, but he didn't move. But still in all, he did a little movement towards it, it's enough. So also, if you just move your feet and you start the process, it's enough as well. Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi said, this now we're talking about by benching. You're supposed to give the Kohen to be the one who leads in the benching. So he says, you don't give the Kaisha Bracha only to someone who has a good eye. Not to someone who has a bad eye on people and is very miserly, etc. You don't give him to bless, because blessing has to come from a toivayin, from someone who has a good eye and looks goodly on people. And Yeshua ben Levi says, how do we know that even the birds in the sky do not take food from tzarei ayin, from people who are very miserly? So it says, he brings a verse that the birds pick up that this person threw some food, but he's really miserly. They don't take his food. And Rabbi Yeshua Levi says, whoever enjoys something from these people who have a bad eye, and really, even if they have to do something to share with you, they do it not really wanting to do it, etc. You actually do a sin. Like it says, don't eat from the bread of someone who has a bad eye, because he shows you like he wants to give you to eat, but he really doesn't want you to eat. Nachman, the son of Yitzchak, said, you do two sins. It says, don't eat and don't even desire it. Yeshua ben Levi says, the Egla Rufa, this is a law when someone is found dead, so they measure between two cities to see which city is closest. And then the Chacham, the Skenim of that city have to bring Egla Rufa. So this Egla Rufa, this goat that is taken to a river, and that's its neck is cut off and the blood flows, it only comes because of those people who are miserly, don't help others. Because it says in the verse that the Skenim, the elders, have to say that we didn't spill this blood. So the question is, these are the leaders, the Bezdin, the rabbis, whoever thought that they actually killed this person. But the means is that they're saying that he never came to our hand and we let him go without food. We never saw him and left him to fend on his own, that he was needy and he fended on his own. We didn't see him and we let him go without anyone escorting him. So meaning they're saying that we never let him go on their own. But if he died closest to our city, someone must have let him go on his own and not fed him. And therefore we're bringing this Egla Rufa, this to atone. Rav Ada says in the name of Rav Simloi, that a Beis HaKnesset shul that's full of kohanim, everyone goes up to Duchen. So who are they blessing if everyone goes up? So Rav Zera says to the brothers in the fields who can't come. So the Gemara asks a question. We learned that those that are behind the kohanim are not included in the bracha, so they're not there and they're in the fields, they're not included in the blessing. So who are they blessing? So he says, if someone is in shul and he doesn't take the bother to stand looking at the kohanim, he doesn't get blessed. But if someone's in the field, he's included because he's not standing by the kohanim intentionally, just that's the situation where he is. And we also bring a supporting thing that it says that a Beis Knesset that's full of kohanim says some people go up, some people answer amen. So the question is, how could that be? We just said before everyone goes up. So it says like this: if the kohanim go up and there are 10 people remaining, so then they could be answering amen and a minyan, then some stay. But then they all go up. But if it's not, and there won't be 10 people there, then you have to have some people from the kohanim stay down, so there could be 10 people to answer amen. So then the Gemara says, Abba Brei the Rab Minyamin, the son of Chia, said the people that are behind the kohanim are not included in the blessing. Obviously, we're trying to say, if let's say someone doesn't see the kohen, let's say a short guy standing behind a tall guy, obviously it's not that's not called interrupting or disturbing, and they're not going to include it in the blessing. That meaning you have to see the kohen. If someone tall standing for you, don't sing him. Even a table or something that doesn't make a separation. But what's with the mechitza? You're standing in a way that you can see the kohen, but there's a mechitza. There's actually a divider. So Shmuel Levi says that even a metal divider doesn't separate a Jew between their father and heaven. So obviously, only if they're standing really behind the kohanim, otherwise everyone is good. So the question: what if you're standing on the side? So we brought a proof that it says that when you're sprinkling the blood in the base of midrash, you have to do it in front of you. You have to sprinkle it in front of you. But what happens if you sprinkle it behind you? Then it's not good. What happens if you sprinkle it on the side? So we said it's good. So also too here, if you're standing on the side, it is good as well. And this is the end of today's Daf Lamed Ches in Sotah.